Hey everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to sew this super cute vest and pleated skirt set for dolls. Let's get right into it. First things first, we need the patterns. If you want to learn how to draft them completely from scratch, I've put together a step-by-step tutorial over on my Etsy shop. In it, I show you exactly how to take your doll's measurements so the pattern fits like a glove, no matter her size. I'll leave the link down in the description below in case you want to check it out. Time to get to work. Once we have our patterns ready, we're going to transfer them onto the fabric. Just a quick heads up here, keep a close eye on the fabric's print and where each piece is going to go. That way, you'll know whether you need to draw the piece normally or mirrored, and remember to always trace it on the wrong side of the fabric. To get the perfect seam allowance every single time, I use these circular seam allowance guides. They are an absolute lifesaver. Seriously, so useful. Let's finish tracing the rest of the patterns onto the fabric. To mark where the skirt pleats go, I highly recommend using a heat erasable pen. For this tutorial, I already made a vest, but I decided to make the lining with a floral print fabric because it's a bit thinner. We're going to start by sewing all the darts. A little trick I always do is to leave the thread tails a bit long at the end so I can tie them securely by hand. Now, let's join the two halves of the vest together. Place the main fabric and the lining right sides together. Neatly tuck the darts out of the way so they don't bulk up. And make sure the darts on the lining line up perfectly with the ones on the outside. Sew all the way around, but remember to leave the sides open. Don't sew those just yet. Trim off the excess fabric using pinking shears. If you don't have any, no worries. Just make some tiny snips or clips along the curved areas and clip the corners a bit so everything turns out beautifully when turned right side out. I also like to apply a little bit of fray check just to be safe. Use a pair of tweezers to help you gently turn the vest right side out, little by little. Grab a thick needle, a straight pin, or anything pointy to carefully push the corners out so they look nice and sharp. Give it a really good press with the iron so everything settles into place. Remember those side seams we left open? Well, now we're going to close them up using an invisible ladder stitch. We're doing the exact same thing to sew the shoulders. Another invisible stitch so everything looks flawless. We're almost there! Now it's time to add the snap fasteners and the decorative buttons. I'm using a pin and my heat erasable pen to mark the exact spot for each snap so everything is perfectly centered. And that's it! Our vest is all done! Look how gorgeous it looks! Let's move on to the skirt. To form the pleats, we bring the fabric from line 1 over to line 3 and pin it securely. When you fold them, you might notice some tiny, barely noticeable points at the top, and that's just because this is a straight pleat. Where it actually makes a difference and needs to be corrected is with trapezoidal pleats, but I'll make sure to explain all of that in future videos. Quick little tip. I realized it's way easier to do the hem before actually folding the pleats. Give it a quick press with the iron first so the fabric doesn't slide around and makes your life easier. Run a straight stitch all along the hem. Now we're truly ready to fold those pleats. Once all the pleats are pinned down, press them well with the iron to get those nice, crisp folds. Next, run a stay stitch along the top edge, the hip line, so the pleats don't budge. Place the hip piece right sides together with our pleated piece. A great trick here is to make tiny cuts, or clips, into the fabric so it hugs the curved shape much better. Secure it with clips and sew them together. Now it's time to join the hip lining with the outer piece along the waistline. But before we sew, we need to prepare the overlap tab that will let us button up the skirt later. Position the tab right below the waistline seam allowance and secure it with a quick stitch. Now we can go ahead and sew all the way around the edge. Give it another good press so everything lays completely flat and neat. Now let's run a stitch right here. This will be a decorative top stitch, and it will also keep the lining piece nicely secured inside. Let's close up the skirt. Before sewing the center back seam, I highly recommend trying it on your doll first to make sure it fits perfectly and isn't too tight. Apply a little bit of fray check to the raw edges so the fabric holds up perfectly over time. All that's left is to add some snap fasteners so it's super easy to open and close. And ta-da! Our pleated skirt is officially finished. What a perfect little outfit! I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next video.